And welcome back to episode 23 of the JEB Board podcast. This is Grayson Applin in Mobile, Alabama this week, sitting here alongside Nick, Nick Noah. We had Mardi Gras this past weekend, as you can tell by our beads. So came down here, went to a ball this past Friday and saw some parade. Oh my God. Saw some parades this past weekend. So had a great time down here. And then we also had Brandon Black on the call. By the way, this is the first morning recording we have ever done. It is 9 a.m. So yeah, this hurts. So we also have BB with us on the call today. BB had a fun weekend as well, being a superior athlete that he is.
I I was on my Bryce Elder shit.
Yeah.
Y'all
Got
won
peppered a
what,
little
5 to
bit.
3? Y'all won 5-3 through 12 innings.
So what?
Y'all won 5-3 through 12
Yeah,
innings.
the old guys beat the young guys 5-3 and 12.
You're
Dude, we
considered
had
old?
there were some people that are like in their mid to late 30s that still got it.
I'll believe it. They probably
I
go
mean,
out and they're hoping for a call from like low A ball to give them another shot.
well, no, I mean like one of them plays softball with me. He was on my softball team, but he was still pumping like 83, 84, and he's like 30. He graduated in '07. The hell of what that is.
So was this a softball game?
No, this is baseball. Like we're
Oh,
playing
okay. I
baseball.
thought y'all were throwing softballs
No,
83 miles an hour. I
no,
was like,
no.
that's good.
Yeah.
That is
Impressive.
pumping it for 30
No,
years.
we were going all out.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. Well, this episode is going to be a little bit short because we really have one main thing to talk about, and obviously that is what is happening later on tonight, the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers. I know we've talked about it a couple of times in the past, and so we're try to
In-game discussions, predictions kind of today. So that way when it gets posted, we can see how bad our takes are.
yeah, absolutely. So I guess I'll start with mine. I think the Chiefs are winning another one, guys. I think, and I don't think it's going to be anything special. I think the Chiefs are just going to continue to do what they've done all year and win the game by defense. They're probably going to score, I don't know, like somewhere plus minus three of 20 points. I think the 49ers are going to stall at the beginning and the Chiefs are going to jump on them. And like I said, I've told several people this. I have a very bad fear that this Super Bowl is going to be similar to the Rams and the Patriots 4 or 5 years ago. I think it's just going to be a boring game because both teams have great defenses. And don't get me wrong, like Shanahan and Purdy and the 49ers offense can be electric. But I think I think we've talked the Chiefs defense up, but I think we kind of underestimated them in the same token. I think Nick, I think you've had the most realistic takes on their defense. So
Well, their defense, it's not like they're just going three and out, three and out, three and out, three and out, pick, interception, all these different things. They're letting up, these 3, 4 first down drives, but they're just keeping everything in front and then the drive stalls. And so it's really helping them in the long run because, they're sitting here, they're taking time off the clock on their defense, which is, very unusual because usually it's the offense that's controlling the clock. It's their defense that's doing so much with the clock. And so, we've talked about Pittsburgh and we've talked about the Ravens' dirty, nasty defense, and very under the radar. The Chiefs are kind of the same way this year because again, it's nothing flashy. They'll let up, against 49ers, they'll let up some drives, but the big thing, and it's disgusting to say, but this Super Bowl, the biggest football game of the year, I think will be down to field goals. Who hits all their field goals? If Jake Moody misses a field goal, or Harrison Butker, who's perfect in the postseason, I mean, if they miss one, that's like a pick six in most games' eyes. So I think it's going to really come down to who can have longer drives and who can get into field goal range. So I think it's going to be like one of those 20-17 or like 20-16 kind of games where multiple teams have multiple field goals. So right now, though, I mean, my biggest thing is Brock Purdy has, if it's a game where Brock Purdy goes down 24-7 like they did with the Lions, they're not going to be able to come back. And so it's going to have to be a close game all game long in order for the 49ers to win. But, it's just, again, it's hard to pick against the Chiefs because we've done it pretty much all year with all the post games and besides the Dolphins. And so it's going to be a low scoring under 46. I think the spread is 46 or 47. So it'll be under. But yeah, it'll be probably a 20-17, 20-16 kind of game.
Yeah. I also feel like too that I kind of going off what you're saying. I think this is going to be very similar to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Very similar.
17-10 type game.
Yeah.
I think this game decided at the coin toss.
Really?
Yeah. Because I don't think the
Did you bet on it?
49ers. Huh?
Did
Not
you
the
bet on the
49ers.
coin toss?
Yeah. The 49ers defense is not built for playing from behind. If the Chiefs win, go down and score, and they get a 3 and out, ball game.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would agree with that. Like I said, it's, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It's kind of like the national championship game against Michigan and Washington. Coin toss, they elected the kick, and then at that point, you want to put your best offense on the field first, but they didn't do that. Best part of the team.
Well, and the thing is about this game too is that there is really like, there's when we talk about games, like we usually say like, this game is going to be decided on this person or the linebacking core. And really on both sides, you don't really have a person or group that you can point out to that is going to make or break the game because it's already been established throughout the season, like what group is going to do their job. Like we know besides Rashee Rice and maybe Sky Moore, like that's all the receiving core for the Chiefs are going to do,
I got a hot take because I have a parlay with Chiefs winning and Marquez Gatlin, whatever his last name is, to have over 100 yards.
MBS
has over 100 yards.
Over 100 yards and a Chiefs. It pays out 5,001.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah,
but hey, but
it's one catch for over 20 yards that he does every year and every game, and that's probably gonna be it.
But it's crazy. But there's always that one dude that nobody thinks of, like Scotty Miller.
Kadarius Toney last year.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Kadarius Toney this year
is not playing.
Not lined up on sides.
He is still injured.
He got shadow banned on his own team.
Yeah. They keep putting him on the IR and he keeps going on Instagram. I'm not hurt.
Let me. Yeah.
Dude, I saw a thing where Kadarius Toney won the Defensive Player of the Year award.
But I will say though, I think the biggest thing isn't going to be about play style. I think it's going to be staying healthy throughout the game. I feel like
Who's the Chiefs defensive line? Is it Chris Jones?
Yeah.
So
not to be confused with Chandler Jones.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to make sure which one has CTE.
Chandler. Well, John Jones's brother.
Yeah. But aren't they all related?
No,
not Chris Jones.
Yeah, Chris Jones is.
John Jones just beat the shit out of Chandler Jones, and now he's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Dumb brain. He had another brother that played in the NFL, didn't he? John Jones.
I think so.
There is another brother. I can't remember if he did. Hold on.
I don't. If he went to the NFL, I don't think he made it out the practice squad.
Yeah, but the Chiefs have probably the best player on defense in the Super Bowl and the best offensive player.
Arthur Jones.
The two best offensive players.
Yeah, it was Arthur Jones. I mean, he wasn't really a big name. He did play. I mean, he had some
he's
average.
older too.
Yeah, he's 37. He's retired, but I mean, he had average contracts. He had like a 5-year, 30 million. So I mean, that's six
Wow.
million a year. So I mean, still successful,
Respectable.
but he wasn't like I mean, Chandler Jones for a while. I know he's out now and kind of concussed
On Twitter.
permanently. Um, but Chandler Jones for a minute was really
monster,
solid.
yeah.
I mean, he was a great player, especially at the
Imagine
Cardinals.
having him and Max Crosby
Jesus.
on each side.
Him and Antonio Brown. Yeah.
On opposite sides of the mic.
CTE ESPN.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for their setup.
They
Like,
should have let him wear his helmet, man.
yeah, well, I can't wait for them to start this podcast, this CTE ESPN podcast they're talking about.
No, it's just gonna be
And
burying people.
well, it's going to be like, that you're expecting like the Pat McAfee show or something, and then they're going to be sitting here just like how me and Nick are sitting right now.
Being like,
Dude,
Matt Canada, you're a bitch.
Antonio Brown's gonna be like, "Hey Chandler, what do you think about that?" Just drooling.
But what I was going to say is like I think this game is going to be decided on who stays healthy the most, specifically the 49ers players, because I feel like if anybody out of that core of I would say just your special or your specialty core, your skill players, if any of those guys, I would even go as far to say if Isaiah Pacheco, or not Isaiah Pacheco, I'm sorry, if Brandon Ayuk goes down, then they're going to have an issue. Like I know Juwan Jennings has played better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season for sure, but I think that if any of those main four guys between Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, or Christian McCaffrey go down, then you're going to see Purdy struggle, and then I think it could potentially get bad.
And Debo's already been pretty banged up this and so I mean you've seen how bad they play when Debo's out. And so, but I would say too, like the 49ers secondary, we talk about how great their defense has been in the past, but now that Hufunga's gone and Charvarius Ward has been kind of exposed this year. The year before, everybody was like, oh, he's going to be a defensive player of the year soon. And this year he kind of fell off and has been exposed. So it's really going to come down to, obviously they have a mediocre receiving core, does Kansas City, but if they can't cover, like if Marquez Valdez-Scantling goes, I mean, if he,
Come
if
find
he
me a
gets,
miter saw.
if he breaks something, I mean, it's very possible. But it's going to come down to a lot of those factors. And I love that we're talking about how it's going to be a low scoring game and it's going to be like a reenactment of the Chiefs Rams a couple years ago, 45-40, and just no defense at all.
Yeah. All right.
I think it's really low scoring because I think Pacheco is just going to run straight at what's that dude's name from Ohio State?
Bosa?
No, the other one.
Oh,
The other Bosa?
no, Chase Young.
Chase Young, yeah, they're going to run straight at Chase Young, and Pacheco's going to run for like 170 yards.
Well, but he's only going to average 3 yards a carry. He's going to get attempts.
Yeah. Yeah, 54 carries for 176 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, final thing. Let's do final predictions on the winner and score. I've already said mine, basically. I'm going to say Chiefs 24-16. Nick?
Chiefs 20-17.
Baby?
Chiefs 28-10.
28-10. Okay. Well,
I think Chiefs defense is going to show out.
Again, I don't think this is going to be I think when I say it's 16, I think the 49ers score like
touchdown, 3 field goals.
Yes, but I think they score 2 of those field goals in the fourth quarter. Like I don't think it's much of a game until the end of the game when it's kind of already decided. So, moving on, we'll do a little bit of NBA real quick. Mainly because I am personally distraught with my fantasy basketball team right now.
I think you're beating me.
Yeah, but
I forgot about that. Damn.
Shows you're 2-10. Yeah.
Yeah, you're beating me by 200.
Well, I have two leagues, right? I had the league with y'all, and I have a league with one of my coworkers. And guess who I had as my first pick in that league? Joel Embiid.
He's
And
not out for the season though.
he's out for our season.
Oh, yeah.
Our season ends like middle of March. So he's out with a partial meniscus tear that apparently he's been dealing with all year. And
Big, the RKO on his knee, so that kind of ended that.
yeah, so now he's out until I think his projected date is uh April 2nd is the projected date he's supposed to be back. So obviously that's going to fluctuate, but I guess we can go over the like rankings real quick in the NBA. So let's see. Nothing
Not much has changed.
Not much has not much has changed.
Golden State is still at 500, and right now they're at the 10th play-in spot, and the Lakers are still at 9. I mean, there really hasn't been much movement. I mean, Boston is still on top of the East, with Cleveland still coming up. So Milwaukee's been on a little bit of a losing streak, but it's just, you know, 1 versus 3 is a big difference when it comes to playoff time, but there's plenty of basketball left. So
Right.
there's still a lot of movement around. But the East is just bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the Cavaliers who are on a 9-game winning streak right now.
Yeah.
You know, they're 35 and 16. Bad thing about it is it's 35 and 16, and they're still 4.5 games behind the Celtics. So, but there again, I mean, the Celtics are going to Celtic, and they're just going to choke in the.
Yeah, they're the Cowboys of the NBA.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day. It was that guy he's the one-arm basketball player playing at a D2 school.
Yeah.
And they said the Celtics are going to draft him. They're going to have another Jaylen Brown on the team.
Maybe he's good with his left hand and not his right, so they can combine for one whole player.
No, it's his left hand that's not developed.
I know. I'm saying the other guy have a left hand, but he can't use his right, so that way they just play
No,
together.
that's what I'm saying. The D2 kid.
Oh! Are you talking about Emmanuel Hansen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the dude that literally does not have a left hand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So he has no choice in which hand he dribbles.
Right. Correct. So. Oh,
Such a good news.
yeah. So, all right. Now, now we're gonna go into college basketball too.
Hard
So
to win on the road.
yeah. Say it louder for the people in the back, BB.
There's my college basketball analysis for the week.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a betting man, just bet home on 6 random games and you'll win a lot of money because it is atrocious. Ranked teams going against unranked teams away have a losing record. And it's just seen. I mean, like, you got to think. So in the SEC, for example, Auburn went to Florida. Auburn is tied for, well, yeah, they're second or third now in the SEC. And I mean, they're 19-5. They went against a 15-7 Florida and got the shit beat out of them. Tennessee, the 6th ranked team in the country, and they were going in to Texas A&M, who again they're 15-8, and got the shit beat out of them. Kansas went to Kansas State. Kansas was the 6th, or no, they were like the 4th best team in the country. And they went to overtime and lost to Kansas State, who again is like 15-8. So I mean, it is atrocious this year. And so I think it really does shape up to be a great March Madness because I truly don't believe there is one team that just truly stands out. Everybody, I would say in the top 15 all have a shot.
Well, and another thing too to factor into consideration because I'm looking mainly at SEC basketball right now. But this does go out of conference. Gonzaga beat Kentucky yesterday.
Exactly. I mean,
So
well, no, that was at Kentucky
That was at
too.
Kentucky.
So I mean, Gonzaga basically punched their
tongue punch.
Yeah, they tongue punched their ticket to the tournament there because Gonzaga's been struggling. They didn't have any kind of, quality wins. So that's big for Gonzaga. But yeah, Kentucky's not nearly as good this year, but at least they're not Arkansas.
Yeah. Who won by 3 at home against Georgia yesterday. Well, and what
Since Kyle is not here and can't defend himself, Wisconsin basketball, I called it. Wisconsin was the 6th ranked team 2 weeks ago. They got into the top 10 and they pulled a Memphis. They dropped 4 straight and they just lost to the Rutgers yesterday by 22.
the Acorns.
Yeah, who are not ranked. They were 13 and 10. So
Sounds
Wisconsin
like
has
they need
dropped.
momentum and then start 5.
So they're definitely getting they're getting the Memphis treatment right now.
Yeah. Well, and
Illinois
Take
lost
that
to
out what I
NC
just said.
State. So
yeah, home court advantage. I don't know if it's home court advantage or like it seems like nowadays teams are not shooting on at like shooting well away as they have in the past. I'd guess just because basketball is becoming a little bit more popular in specific towns and specific conferences and stuff. So I don't know if it is the home court advantage, which I mean is a big advantage, but I mean the differential between like your home record and away record this year is just insane. So look at South Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean South Carolina's, and me and Nick were talking about this Friday, talking about South Carolina. When somebody says the term low floor, high ceiling, I mean I think of South Carolina. They have the potential to go out, especially when we get to the tournament and it's a neutral site. South Carolina has the potential to beat someone like Purdue
yeah.
or beat someone like Houston by 20 points, but they could also lose by 30. And it's not even really their play style. It's not like they're just, they're not living and dying by the 3 ball. They had that kid yesterday. His number 30. He was number 30.
Yeah,
I can't remember his
freshman.
name, but freshman forward/center that was just absolutely dominating. I mean, couldn't stop him. I mean, he was dunking all over people. When he got in the post, he had a nice little spin move. And then
He had 31 points.
31 points.
14 of 17 shooting, no threes. Just, I mean, it was true post game.
Yeah, so he's a great player, but like I said, again, they're not living and dying by the 3. So it's just
Also averages 8.9 points a game. So for him to have 31.
yeah. So it's just like I said, it's interesting how number one, home and away can be such a factor, and number two, like kind of going back to Nick's point, how there's no like dominant team. If I'm not mistaken, did UConn lose this past week? UConn, who was the number 1 team in the nation, if I'm not mistaken, I think they dropped one this past week. So let me bless you. Somebody has to do it. Kyle's not on here, so somebody has to do it.
Let's see.
What?
They beat Gonzaga, or no, they beat Butler, and then they beat Georgetown. But so I mean, they don't really have UConn has a bit of a easy schedule for the most part, but they are about to play Marquette and they are about to play Creighton here in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. So then Villanova, but I mean Villanova's not good this year. So Marquette is their biggest game. So UConn is kind of walking up into the tournament unproven, even though they are the number 1 team in the country and they won it last year. So I mean, I can't say unproven, but yeah, I mean they're pulling in Gonzaga. Basically what they used to do is just we beat this D3 high school, and so when they start to play good teams, it's going to be interesting.
And side note, I thought about this when we were talking about Kentucky. BB, do you know what tickets are for the Auburn and Kentucky game next weekend for standing room?
Where's it at?
It's in Auburn.
Probably $300.
Add a 1 in front of that.
$1,300 for standing room.
Yeah. I mean, it is insane because me and Nick were thinking about going to that game next weekend. And
you go watch it at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah,
you're right.
Maybe I can hear it.
Yeah, because we were looking at it, and when we originally looked, it was 500, I think, right?
It was like at 250. It wasn't even that bad. And then Auburn started to go be good, and Kentucky was good. And the prices just kept climbing. And now I'm just watching the ticket prices just see how, how big it is because, in the years past, Auburn's biggest rival in basketball has been Alabama and Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because Kentucky, they're a blue blood. And they've kind of owned the SEC for a while, and now that they're not really at the top anymore,
Who would you say is at the top? I feel
right
like it's
now,
different. Like just in the past like 4 years.
Tennessee and Kentucky have been your two big teams. But I would say the SEC is ran by a pool this year. So I mean it's a pool of about five teams: Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, and it has been Arkansas, but right now it's South Carolina. But in years past, it's usually Kentucky and Tennessee.
You could
And
potentially throw Florida in there as well.
yeah, Florida earlier had better. They've been kind of lackluster, but I'll tell you this. I mean, I think Florida will be a good tournament team because of how they play. Um, Alabama, I was talking to Grayson about this, watching their game. Alabama has the best offense in the country. Uh, the problem is, so Nate Oates runs Mike D'Antoni's offense. 7 seconds or less, shoot up a three, try and get the offensive rebound. Um, that is really good for the regular season because if you have a bad night shooting, you lose a game. Okay, on to the next. And more times than not, you're going to have a good shooting night because you're full of shooters, um, literally and figuratively. And so,
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly.
Not get
But
sued.
I was telling him the problem is in the tournaments, and you've seen every year with Nate Oates, is he has this same offense and this great style, but it's very hard to stay hot shooting, 40% from three, jacking up 25 threes a game, 5 games in a row. Like that's the problem. They'll have, they'll come out and beat the shit out of somebody and then get to the round 32 and beat, a big name. And then going into the Sweet 16, they're like, oh, we have an easy, schedule against, New Mexico State or something like last year. And then they shoot 13% from three and they lose and they're out. And it's just,
Last year. San Diego State.
huh? Oh, it's San Diego State, not New Mexico State. Yeah. But still, I mean, it's teams like that they should beat. But because of that play style, if they have a bad night shooting, that's basically chalk it up as a loss.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like Alabama's had a good defense too the past couple years.
No,
Sure.
no. They well,
In the past couple of years, maybe not this year.
No, I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about like last year and the year before.
they've had good defensive players. So going back
I
to,
thought they were like top 15 in defensive efficiency.
I mean, it's
They
according.
were last year because of Brandon Miller and Bediako.
Yeah.
So they did have when they were number one in the country. And the offense has stayed the same, but this year they're in I think the third quadrant in defense just because they play so small.
Yeah, and well, the thing is too is that like going back to what Nick was talking about, that play style they have is you have to recruit. Like it's almost like you have to have like three, maybe four guys that can shoot. Like your 1 through 4 has to be like just lights out shooters, and then your number 5, which was Bediako last year, has to be a rebounder and shot blocker. Yeah, preferably a rebounder, but if you can block shots too, then that's just a plus. So, in terms of with the smaller guards and being able to shoot, they're going to be able to guard the perimeter, right? They're going to be quick, they're going to be fast, they're going to be agile, and then you have guys like Bediako. I guess this year would be Grant Nelson for them. They're well, I guess he would be a stretch 4, or maybe
Plays the 5 because they play last couple of games they've had Rylan Griffin at the 4 who was like 6'6".
Yeah.
And so he's just another shooter. They're basically playing 4 guards and a center. And Grant Nelson has been underwhelming this year just because everybody when he was at North Dakota State, dude was, I mean, great. But again, that's a D2 school. And so coming to the SEC, it's not that he's short, like he's just as tall as everybody else, but he's pretty slim, and so
We
he's getting kind of bullied a bit by some of these SEC centers that are 260, 270 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Zach Edey had 30 on him. I mean, I know Zach Edey's tall, but I mean, Zach Edey's also 300 pounds. And so players like that, when you're 6'10" and don't even weigh 200 pounds, that's tough.
Zach Edey is the basketball equivalent of the guy that goes to a bar and his personality trait is that he's 6'4".
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Zach Edey in basketball terms.
He's talking
I
false.
heard he like draws a lot of fouls.
Who's Zach Edey?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's not really athletic. Like, think of a low grade knockoff of Yao Ming that isn't really like talented. Like he's just tall. He just hit last night, by the way, his first career three.
Really?
Yeah. So, and that's saying something when he's got the arms to reach halfway from the 3-point line to the basket.
And if you
why can't big men shoot threes?
well,
I get they don't practice it, but I feel like if you're like an NBA player, you shouldn't be that bad.
well, the NBA is now. I mean,
It's gotten better over the years.
Yeah, you know, Wemby and Chet Holmgren. I mean, they're jacking up 3-4 threes a game.
I'm just talking about like people like Shaq. Like I don't see how Shaq said that.
I think that goes more into like your gross muscle movement and your fine muscle movement. Like bigger guys are going to have an issue with like your finer motions just because they're used to using more muscle groups and Atlas just busted in the door. I was like, hey man, I'm in here. But yeah, I think it goes into more like gross and fine movement of the muscles, honestly. Like they're just not used to, putting touch on the ball, flicking the wrist, let's just like throw ball hard, see where it goes,
Yeah.
Me Hayes.
Yeah. They were more worried about backing somebody down because they had two left hands. So
all right. Well, we got anything else for today?
Who's right now, give me your final four.
For basketball?
Basketball?
Yes.
Auburn, Alabama.
No. I want the final four for 2028's college football season based off recruiting.
South Alabama's bringing the
Prince Seaborn will lead the Alabama Crimson Tide under Mike Norvell.
BB, anything exciting happening in F1 right now?
Oh, dude, it's silly season, and the season hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
I can go on about this if y'all want to.
I mean, can you give us a brief rundown?
Okay, so it all
starting back in 1889 when cars were invented.
So it all started with the first thing. There's been like 7 like major controversies in a month.
Jesus.
Like I'm talking like steroid era scandal shit. So it starts off with this guy named Lewis Hamilton, who is he's like Dale Earnhardt Sr., like the one of the best F1 drivers ever. He sat in his car for this year and said, I'm opting out of my contract and signing with Ferrari. Essentially being like Nick Saban looking around.
And this was who?
His name's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, okay. That's who I thought you said. Okay.
Yeah, but essentially it's like Nick Saban looking at his team and be like, I'm going to Auburn. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that the Red Bulls, like it's called team principal. It's like I guess head coach would be the best way to describe it. He's won the past 4 like team. They're called constructors, but team championships. Like 2 days after Lewis announced to go to Ferrari, comes out that he has some sexual misconduct, some Vince McMahon type shit come out.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was involved with Vince McMahon.
Wow.
No,
okay.
No, okay. So then you got that going on, and everybody's like, whoa, what the? 2 days later, it comes out that it's because of his aggressive management style. Well, more days comes out. He told a girl she sucks at her job, and now he's probably going to get fired for that.
This is still Lewis Hamilton.
No, this is the team principal.
Okay. The
So
next one.
So wait, but before you go on, so are you saying that like all these are compounding on it, or it's just like they're giving different reasons why he's fired?
It's compounding on it.
Oh my
Like
God.
it started off being like he sent like dick pics to somebody to he's just mean.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, and then 2 days after that, one like the is like the state sports book, whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently, uh, sports betting is illegal in other countries, and each race is in a different country. So this one team that paid like $200 million to put stake on the car can't have stake on the car no more, so they're out $200 million, and money is king in F1 because you got to build every car is built brand new each year,
Yeah.
and so that team is shrugged. Uh, there's one more thing else that happened. That was crazy. I can't remember.
I can't wait for him to tell all this stuff, and then he just be like, "Oh yeah, somebody got hit on the track the other day too."
Well, the cars
Yeah, all this happened within a 2 week period.
Jesus,
Other things I'm forgetting about.
I'm gonna have to start waking up at 4 a.m. and watching this stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like it's fun.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we know when BB's watching F1 because like he never puts anything in the group message before like 10 a.m. But then 8 a.m. We'll say 8 a.m. But then like sometimes we'll start getting messages of like 4:45 and like, oh, no, know what BB's doing.
No, usually it starts at about 7 or 8.
It's not terrible.
I think it's 7 your time.
Yeah.
These cars go fast, man.
Well, hey, excuse me. Right now, I'm in Central Time. I am in. It is 8 my time right now. Thank you.
And
So
now, and then like just as of like 30 minutes ago, Mercedes is the team that Lewis Hamilton drives for. Is thinking about replacing them with. I guess would be a good way to put it is replacing Ronald Acuna with Nick Markakis. That's what they're doing right now.
not good.
No, it's not.
Let me talk to you about the Reds.
I can't wait for college baseball though. That'd be fun when that comes up.
Oh yeah, we'll do.
Softball too, honestly.
Oh, South softball. Yeah. Well, they choked against Missouri last night, but they're
Pretty good.
whipping ass.
Yeah.
They beat Notre Dame 5-1, St. John's 3-0. And they beat somebody else like Norfolk State or somebody like 5-0. Had a 3-0 lead against Missouri going into 6, and then gave up 2 3-run bombs, I think, and lost.
Well, last thing before we hop off, Nick brought this up, set the phone down right here in front of me. I was like, oh shit, that's a good idea. UFC 298s this weekend. With the main card being Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilya Topuria. So let's see. We got Robert Whitaker and Paulo Costa until he eventually pulls out. Jeff Neal and Ian Gary. Let's see.
Henry Cejudo's also.
Oh yeah, Marab and Henry Cejudo. I forgot about that.
Is
Let's
O'Malley
see.
fighting 299? Is that one?
Yeah, it's
O'Malley
299,
and
yeah.
Cheeto are fighting 299 in March.
So
With the 300 main event. Yeah.
They haven't announced 300's main event yet. They have the co-main being Max Holloway and Gaethje. And God, I don't want to watch. I'm a huge Max Holloway fan, and I really don't. He's never been knocked out before, Max Holloway. He's been submitted before by Dustin Poirier, but he has never been knocked out. But he's also not usually a lightweight. And so he's moving up a class to fight Gaethje for the BMF, the Booker title. So that's going to be I don't know. I'm nervous. I mean, but I've doubted Max Holloway before. And yes, I know he's 0-3 against Volk, but I mean, they all three went to decision. And so, and then when Max Holloway fought Korean Zombie, I mean, I know Korean Zombie's older, but I mean, Max Holloway slept him. And so every time I think that, he's going outgunned, I mean, Max Holloway is one of the truest boxers in the MMA. And so, but Gaethje just, I mean, he hits so hard.
Yeah, he's got
And-
blocks on
See,
him.
the funniest thing about Holloway was when who was he fighting? It was I think it was Ortega.
Yeah, it was
That was tough. And like half at the end of the fight, he was trying to teach him how to block the punch. I was like, dude, I'm pulling out a gun if that happens to me.
Yeah. We bid. And then you also which was it that he was did the no look because he was screaming at Dana, I'm the best boxer in the UFC, throws a no look right hook and wobbles the dude. Yeah.
Well, I guess going through the card, we'll go through the top four of the fight. Starting with between Marab and Henry Cejudo, who y'all got?
Marab, because I think Cejudo is going to retire.
Baby?
Not Cejudo.
Yeah, I think Marab may actually because Cejudo's he's gonna wrestle.
Yeah.
He's gonna wrestle.
I just think he's too cringe to win.
That too. I can't really be a fan of him. He's weird.
Yeah, he's too weird, and like not the good weird, like the just strange.
First James reference on the podcast. Jeff Neal, Ian Gary.
Jeff Neal is going to get a chance at Ian Gary's wife, but I think Ian Gary is going to win.
So I think I dislike Ian Gary more than Henry Cejudo now.
Oh, I don't like Ian Gary.
Yeah,
But Ian Gary is a good fighter.
he is. Yeah, I think Gary's gonna win, and then spout off some stuff in Irish and be like a McGregor light, and then he's gonna get flamed on Twitter again. And yeah, I think I think Ian Gary's still gonna win and remain undefeated.
Ian Gary is like if Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor had a baby,
Love child.
like a
He got all the
fetal
worst traits.
alcohol syndrome baby.
And they got all the bad traits from each.
Yeah, all that
Yes.
all that whiskey from Conor McGregor. Yeah, no, it's just
I hate Justin Poirier.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian Gary got the bad traits from both of them. He's got the traits from Poirier that he's a cuck, and he got the traits from being Irish from McGregor.
well, at least McGregor can talk shit. Ian can't. Ian
Yeah.
is terrible at talking.
He used to be able to back it up.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, that's the thing though. Ian Gary is 13-0. So again, I do think Ian Gary is a good fighter.
Is it 13-0 or Habib 13-0?
Huh?
Oh, I get what you're saying. He's saying is he like 13-0 from fighting actual fighters? Is he 13-0 from fighting like his local plumber in the sand ring?
Had like 2 true UFC fights. The rest have been just his little MMA. Let's see.
Yeah, I think that
he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 UFC fights in all. But I mean, they're not big names to be honest with you. The last was Neil Mangy and Daniel Rodriguez, but yeah,
I think your record should start with like this UFC. Like if you're
well, that's what I'm
13-0,
saying. Like, I mean, he was in UFC 268, 273, 276, 285, Fight Night 292. So I mean, he's fought in the UFC, but truly, he's only 6-0.
no, I'm saying like for 13-0, but had 6 fights.
Yeah.
You're 6-0.
Robert Whitaker, Paulo Costa. I think I have an interesting take on this one.
Does he bring the secret juice?
Yes. I think Apollo Costa actually fights. I think he wins. I think if he doesn't pull out, I think he wins. And I don't think it's because of him. I think it's because I think Robert Whitaker's on a skid right now, and he's like I think he doesn't have an identity right now. I think he's just kind of Rob's gotten old, but who's his last fight against?
He's like Jake Paul.
It was against Duplessis. It was against Drinkus.
Yeah,
And Drinkus knocked him out. So
I thought he fought. Yeah, it
Did
was.
Whitaker fight Jake Paul?
what?
Did Whitaker fight Jake Paul?
No.
No.
That was Tyrone Woodley.
Woodley.
Yeah.
Different skin taller.
Yeah.
that is 2 opposite spectrums. Whitaker looks like a Nazi, and Tyrone Woodley. Yeah.
not but yeah, I don't like I said, I think because I don't think anybody was expecting him to lose to Duplessis. And then
Nobody really knew who Duplessis was at the time. I mean, some true UFC fans did, but I mean, he wasn't a household name.
yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I think Costa. What do y'all think?
I want Rob Whitaker to win, but I think Paul Costa will take it. I've liked Rob Whitaker for a while, but I mean, again, I have nothing against Paul Costa. I mean, I get his staph infection was bad, and so I know that was that was a legitimate pull in my opinion because I saw the pictures afterwards and
With the
it's just
hole in his
disgusting.
elbow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. I mean, dude's ripped. So I think
Secret juice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm winning. I'm winning the guy that brings the secret juice.
But I mean, Rob Whitaker is favored by 220, so it I think Paul Costa, that's a good little under the radar bet.
Yeah. Well, also Paulo Costa too gets like BB level of horny at 10:37 p.m. So I mean, I think that's why BB's picking allegedly. But last fight,
That one
Volt.
picture got me. That one picture I sent though, like 2 days ago, that was funny.
Send a lot. I don't remember.
Yeah. I
You
don't
don't
know.
know.
Send it again.
It's the one where the guy's going down the stairs, and it says it was in the big. It was in the regular the Kyle group me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Let me see. Let me see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the final fight, Volk and Ilya Tapuria. This actually, I think, is going to be a lot closer than you think.
Mhm.
I think since Volk actually had time and didn't take this fight on 3 hours notice, I think Volk stays champ. I don't think Volk's going to get knocked out. Um, I don't know. Like, look here, let me look at his stats real quick. Reaches 69 inches. I thought that said 6'9". I was like, this dude's hands are hanging down to his ankles.
Walking with the knuckles.
Yeah, so I don't know. Unless Tapuria just pulls it out and decides to start taking Volk down and is like very aggressive with the ground and pound, which I don't even think that's going to work because we've talked about before, Volk used to weigh 230 pounds and was a rugby player, so he may not be a wrestler like a true wrestler with a amateur wrestling background, but
Country song.
yes, yeah, well,
Cornbread fed.
yeah, and the wilds of, let's see, where is he from? New Zealand, Australia? Yeah, he's that kind of country strong. So, but I think Bolt wins by decision.
Thank you. I think Volk wins. Taporia has been cocky as hell.
Yes.
RA saying like he's gonna have his movie out, and like doing all this. He's got in his Instagram bio like he's already 15-0 in the champ and all this. Meanwhile, Volk is putting out a commercial of how he's an old man. But I mean, Volk though, the only thing that's facing him is the 35-year-old curse. He is 35 now, and so a lot of them, when they get to that age, start declining. But I mean, Volk also, like, I was listening to him on a podcast. He said before he took the fight, where he got knocked out, he said he was just kind of in a hole and he was drinking 3-4 days out of the week. And he said he's been getting prepared this time. So I'll tell you right now though, if Taporia tries to fight cocky, then it won't get to decision. But if he fights smart, I think it will go to decision. And I think it'll be unanimous. I think Volk will land some strikes, but then I think he'll end up taking him down a couple times and ground pounding him. It won't be a submission, but I think the closest it can be to come to a stoppage is a TKO with him beating the shit out of him on the ground like he did with Korean Zombie. So it's got my take.
I just found the funniest tweet popped up. So, the waste management Open golf. It's
Yeah.
like, it's not an actual golf event. It's kind of like just like a tailgate.
Yeah.
This just in, breaking news. The Waste Management Open has cut off all alcohol sales. The lead operation manager said there had been at least 30 fans blacked out today.
Well, I mean, we saw a video yesterday of a guy that was sitting in a stool, kind of like I am now, uh, just leaned up against the table, pissing himself, and it was like draining off of the stool. So, yeah, God, where I would be to be in his position right now.
And
But
somebody commented, "Pussies. Sorry for joining the sport that is now owned by a government that funded 9/11." I'm glad Toby Keith is around to see this shit.
yeah. So hey, Didi, who do you think is going to win between Alex and Volkanovski and Tempuria?
Give me Volkanovski.
Volkanovski, Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski. It'd be so funny if he's just like, he's short and he's thick boy. He was just painting himself green with put an eye on his chest and walked out to the ring like some Finn Balor shit.
Hulk is 5'6", Taporia is 5'7". So, I mean, it's about the same. But yeah, I mean, you can still see the stretch marks on Volk where it used to be massive. So, yeah, I mean, he kept his strength, obviously, but.
All right. Well, I guess that ends the episode 23 Super Bowl mornings. Yeah, whatever episode we're on. But this ends episode whatever we're on. I have to get on the road now to make sure I get back home for the Super Bowl. So everybody go listen to us on whatever you listen to us to and check out our socials. And until next time, casuals, don't get hard counted.